And then there's, of course, you, representing not only the observer, but the participant, because that is the nature of our being. We have the capacity to observe and participate in our own unfolding, which is the mandate of the Spirit of the living God, for you to observe that which is passing through your awareness, the emotional content, the mental content, the points of view, the positionalities, the opinions, and come more and more and more into the awareness that you are the observer of it all, and then joyfully and dynamically participate in your own unfolding, so that you are not loaded and coated with the world, but you're loaded and coated with the infinite power and presence and love of God that you're now participating in. I welcome you into this dynamic known as Agape International under the theme this month of Pray or Be Pray. It's harvest time. We've come to an understanding, of course, that we are to pray. We are a prayerful community, not a begging and beseeching and wailing and complaining community, not a community that's trying to change God's mind about anything. We are a community that's involved in real prayer, which is not to change God's mind, but to come into harmony and coherence with the mind and heart of the infinite, having a spiritual realization of that which is timeless and forever, until it becomes the activity of our awareness, and then we find ourselves under the frequency of ceaseless prayer, prayer without ceasing, which does not mean standing on the corner and praying. It means that we're living in a vibration and a frequency of prayer, a vibration and frequency of oneness with the presence, a vibration and frequency of love and peace and harmony and wholeness unceasingly, because it has become the activity of our awareness, which gives us a kind of a springboard vibration, meaning when we fall, we bounce back up. When we fall, we bounce back up. When we fall, we bounce back up, always getting up more times than we fall, because we're in this dynamic of gratitude and praying without ceasing. As we're understanding that, we're no longer pray to the world, that is P-R-E-Y. We pray P-R-A-Y, so we're not pray P-R-E-Y to the world. Now, as I was saying in the morning's meditation service, that many people are hapless prey to the world. Their attention has been hijacked by the news media, by the broadcast of death and destruction, the broadcast of the lowest frequency of the human condition, thus anchoring individuals in fear, doubt, and worry, as I've just talked about with Reverend Susie, that have normalized the worry, the doubt, and fear. They become prey to the world of appearances unwittingly. They have given up their sovereignty, given up their inner authority, given up their sense of oneness with the presence of God, and are puppets on the string of someone else's agenda. If in fact, if in truth, we enter into a prayerful dynamic with the oneness factor of the presence of God, we're no longer prey to the world. We're living dynamically and living as individuals who are dynamic reporters of a broadcast of the eternal, of the immortal, of the timeless. In other words, there are simultaneous broadcasts going on. There is the broadcast of the temporal, news media, broadcast of the temporal superstition, broadcast of the temporal beliefs of separation and scarcity and not enoughness that does produce experience. And then there's the eternal broadcast. Let there be light. Let there be love. Let there be life everywhere. That's the broadcast directly from the heart mind of the infinite. As we are in the frequency of prayer and meditation, we catch the eternal broadcast and we rebroadcast it without stepping it down. We hear Mother Mary saying in substance, my soul does magnify the Lord. We rebroadcast without stepping it down. We are rebroadcasting the great law of life, you see. And this is what you are about. Don't be prey to the world. Allow yourself to have a prayerful, vibratory feeling tone so that you walk in the world, not running from it, walking in the world, but of a higher frequency of life so that ultimately your world, your personal law, your world bends in the vibration, in the frequency that you're holding. And your experience of life begins to change. Remember, most people don't experience reality. They don't experience life. They only experience their thoughts and belief about it. So you're raising your vibration and frequency. And you're coming into an understanding today of your idea cathedral. That's the topic, your idea cathedral. Now, when we see the great cathedrals of the world, you travel through all parts of the world and you see these great and magnificent cathedrals. And sometimes you go in these cathedrals and you can feel the essence of thousands and thousands of people who've been praying and meditating in these particular cathedrals. And we want to come to an understanding, and as beautiful and as magnificent as these cathedrals around the world are, there is something back of that cathedral. There's an idea back of that cathedral. And oftentimes people go into the cathedral and they are responding to and reacting to that which they can see, stained glass windows, acting what they can see, the organ, reacting to what they can see, the feeling tone of everything that's been there. But there's something back of that. There's an idea back of that. And ultimately, every cathedral is to take you, that which is behind the cathedral, is to take you into the transcendent, that which is transcending time and space, that which is immortal, that which is timeless, and you are to absolutely come into your own idea cathedral. It is a pristine awareness of the power and the presence and the love of God. And so as you are understanding that which is back of it all, the invisible, indivisible presence of God, and you are coming to an understanding that that which you can see is to actually bring you to that which you can't see with the sensorium, that is. You can't see with your eyes, can't hear with your ears. When that begins to happen, and it can begin to happen right now. What I want you to do is, as you're hearing me speak right now, I want you to allow your imagination to run wild with possibility in your life. I want your imagination to run wild with the possibility of abundance, the possibility of love, the possibility of generosity, the possibility of creativity, the possibility of bliss and ecstasy. Don't ask how this is to manifest. Just to allow, as you're hearing me speak this morning, just allow for your imagination just to run wild with great possibility in your life. You are building the vibratory frequency of an idea cathedral that's transcending physical cathedrals. You're entering to the feeling tone of the transcendent. Don't ask how any of that is to manifest. That is not your job. Your job is to create a lawful response to the universal presence that is giving you everything in this instant if you can but receive it vibrationally. Let your imagination run wild right now. Put a smile on your face and begin to imagine. Come away from the wailers and the complainers of the world in this instant. Let your imagination run wild. And then thirdly, I think it is thirdly because the first is just the idea cathedral. The second is letting your imagination run wild. Now, I want you to come into holy company. Come away from the complainers right now. Come away from the wailers and begin to step into the light of the sisterhood and the brotherhood of those who have transcended time and space. Come up here with Yeshua ben Joseph. Come up here with Buddha. Come up here with Kuan Yin. Come up here with Walter Russell. Come up here with Thomas Hora and Thomas Troward. Come up here with Howard Thurman. Come up here with Mother Mary. Come up here with holy company right now. And begin to feel yourself pulsing with the holy company of the divine. This is your family. These are individuals who transcended time and space. Now, purify your motivation. Walk in this way with the only agenda being, I want to walk in the way of awakening. Purify your motivation. Let all selfishness go. Let all attachment to an external accomplishment. For just a moment, you can get it back a little later. You can have your goals, but your goals must have a higher purpose. Let go. Purify your motivation. So here you are. Feel it right now. You're creating your idea cathedral. Transcending time and space. You're coming into holy company. You're purifying your motivation. Now I want you to have great manners. Spiritually. What does that mean? In this moment, I want you to want for others what you want for yourself. Break free from any sense of stinginess, any sense of greed, any sense of a feeling of lack and limitation and comparison, and whatever you want for yourself. You want love in your life. You want peace in your life. You want joy in your life. You want harmonizing prosperity in your life. You want to feel the rush of abundance. You want to feel ecstasy and bliss. You want to feel the joy of knowing who you are. Now, in this instant, have an inner desire for every being to have this according to their uniqueness. So you're moving beyond comparison right now. You want all of this for everyone else. And begin to notice, if you want to block your manifestation, if you want to hinder, slow down, and delay the manifestation of good in your life, this is the best way that you can do it. Become hypercritical of someone else. Take all of your attention and find something wrong in someone else. That is a great way to stop your own manifestation. You will hinder the flow. It is none of your business about somebody else's life. It is none of your business. You don't know the backstory of anyone else. You don't know what anybody else is growing through or have grown through to be where they are. I'll always remember an individual client that I had many years ago when I was attending the Guidance Church of Religious Science under the spiritual direction of Dr. Daniel L. Morgan. And there was an individual that I was working with as I was a full-time practitioner at this time. And this individual had come to see me. He had just recently been released from jail. He had tried to burn down his girlfriend's house while she was in it. She didn't die. But anyway, he had had some mental and emotional issues. He was jailed for a period of time and then had some, he was assigned to some kind of a mental institution for a while, and then ultimately came to see me as a practitioner. And when he would tell me about his girlfriend and what she had said and done that made him like just really get fired up, literally. His face would get so red, and he was a black man. His face would get so red. Anyway, long story short, we worked together, and he began to have spiritual insight into the nature of reality. He began to have spiritual insight into his real nature and being. Ultimately, went back to school, went to college, got degrees, became a teacher, he received like the Teacher of the Year award in the city. I mean, he became a next great vision and version of himself. And I remember when he started attending a guidance, there was a little bit something odd about him, nothing dangerous, nothing like that, just a little odd. And I remember standing on the street watching him, and I heard these ladies talk. They were talking about him, and they were saying, oh, he's kind of weird, and he's an oddball. And I'm thinking to myself, you have no idea how far this man has come in his life. You have no idea. that this man's been in prison, he's been in mental institutions, and now he's become the teacher of the year. He's got advanced degrees. He's sharing and giving and volunteering in all these organizations. You have no idea, but they were just back here just criticizing him, and they had no idea. I just remember, it just made me feel kind of icky inside that they were being so hypocritical about this guy, but they had no idea that they were blocking their own good by the projection of that kind of a critical nature of this individual. If you want to block the flow of your own good, just become critical of somebody else. It's very easy to do. I can give you some other ways of how to block your own good too. Start gossiping. Anyway, I'm not here to teach you that. I'm here to teach you about your idea cathedral. The cathedral back of the physical cathedrals. That which is to take you into the transcendent, made from the transcendent itself. And as I said at the beginning here, you are to, as you're hearing me speak, allow for your mind to go wild with possibility. Again, do it right now. Do not ask how it is to be done, and step into the frequency of holy company and realize that you belong here. Feel this right now. You belong in high company. Do not project your good onto somebody out there as if I can never attain that. I can never be as good as fill in the blank of whoever it is that you have in your high company. No. You belong in the frequency of the eternal. You belong in the frequency of the timeless. You belong in the frequency of the immortal because that's who you are. And then as you don't ask how anything is to manifest right now, but now for an instant purify your motivation, meaning you're not walking the way because you are afraid that bad things are going to happen. Oh, if I don't do this, I'm going to go to hell. If I don't do this, I'm sinning and No. Release that. Release for a moment an attachment to an outcome. You're walking in the way for the way's sake. You're walking in the way to realize your oneness with God, which means you realize your oneness with abundance, your oneness with peace, you're at one minute with joy, you're at 1 minute with bliss, you're at 1 minute with beauty. You're having a realization of such. Feel it in the silence. Now, as you're in this high space, you open up and you hold this space for everyone. As a matter of fact, as an exercise today, everyone that comes into your mind, whether they like you or not, whether you like them or not, you don't have to like everybody, but you do have to have the love of God. Whether they like you or not, or whether you like them or not, whether you know them or not, anybody you come in contact with today, passing on the street, someone in the next car, practice what you would want for yourself, you want for them. Not the limited self, but the timeless, immortal self. You want everyone to feel the frequency of connection, and of love, and of peace, and of harmony. That's called spiritual good manners. And so if you're building an idea cathedral, if you're coming into high and holy company consciously, this is a part of your cathedral. If you're having a dynamic, magnificent motivation, not tinged with selfishness and greed, you're building your idea cathedral. Great motivation, great manners. Now, who are you? You are a living filament of light. You are a transponder of the infinite, transmuting it into form of your own life. And guess what? The world is not giving you this. So the world can't take it away. The world can continue to be fluxed up. The world can continue to go topsy-turvy. The world can continue to do what it's doing, and that limited broadcast from the news can continue to spin out. But who are you? You're catching the broadcast of the infinite, and you are rebroadcasting the infinite even in your silent moments, even in your stillness. The broadcast is happening through you. You walk into a room and people just feel a little better. Grace breaks out just because you're there, representing the infinite. Now, this does not go without saying that there won't be chemicalization. That is, there won't be detoxification. Because as you become resolute in building your idea cathedral, there will be the elimination of toxins, old thoughts, habits, beliefs, perceptions, superstitions, excuses, reasons that have served you up to now as to why you can't be happy. Your limited self has built up a perception of excuses and reasons as to why you may not be happy, and they serve you whenever as necessary for you to explain why you're not living the life you think you should live. They're built in for you. You have a whole interpretation of your past life or past lives. You have a whole interpretation of what people have said about you and done to you. You have it all ready to serve you. But if you begin to build your idea cathedral, coming into high and holy company, purifying your motivation, having good manners, you'll find infinite reasons to be grateful. And check this out. All you'll have to do is pick one of them. And that'll be your ticket that you pay to enter into the timeless. And then you'll walk as a timeless being. Now, of course, like the gentleman standing in front of the church that day, you might look a bit odd every now and then. You might not quite fit in to that which has been normalized in our world. Let me just break this down for you for a moment. Just as there's always calamity and chaos before the birth, whether it's a birth of the planet going into another dimension of which Earth is doing, whether it's your own birth into a higher frequency. Right now, the world is in calamity because it's preparing for a quantum leap into another vibrational dimension. And how can you tell? Because of polarization and all the things that are going on. So your role is not to be on the left or the right, the this or the that. Your role is to step back far enough and see the whole process and stand in the feeling tone of oneness. Because if you get caught in one side or the other, you're in the fray. And you're no good to anyone because you've chosen a side on a round planet. Expand. Represent the eternal. And then walk not just in peace, but as an ambassador of peace. The ego is going to pull you into the fray. Your soul is going to allow you to be a midwife, birthing individuals and a planet into the next dimension of higher vibration and frequency. I can say this unequivocally because the universe is not only benevolent and friendly and progressive, it's infinite and is always progressing. So are you with the progress? Or are you unconsciously regressing? There's a lot in there between the words. But I want you to see yourself today as a living cathedral of infinite potential. That you have an idea cathedral that you're living in that brings to everywhere you go the feeling tone of connection with the presence for such a time as this in human history. Come into the sisterhood, the brotherhood of those who have transcended time and space. This is your family. Some are on this side of the veil, visible for you to see. Some are invisible, but we're all connected by the timeless. No one is dead. Ernest Holmes is not dead. Dr. King is not dead. Jesus is not dead. Kuan Yin is not dead. But all alive. Come into holy company. Purify your motivation. Have great manners. Build your idea cathedral without walls. Stained glass windows will be the light of God shining, with your life being the prism of so many sacred colors of infinite potential. Feel now that all of your needs are met. Feel your own strength and vitality and vigor. You belong here. You wouldn't have tuned in. You belong here. You belong here. And you can't get there from here until you realize there is here. Now, read between the lines of that which cannot be spoken in words. Feel it in your heart. And come with me into the dynamic of prayer. Come into the rare atmosphere of the absolute. Pray that we're not praying. Oh, infinite Spirit, great God of the universe, Mother, Father God, holy presence, love, intelligence, and beauty, life itself. How wonderful it is to be awake, aware, and alive. To recognize that the very beating of my heart gives me all the reason I need to be grateful. My breath is the breath of God, not the guy in the sky, in the sweet by and by, but the presence that is never an absence, life itself. And in this consciousness of gratitude, oh my God, as I hang here in this idea cathedral of gratitude and thanksgiving and appreciation, oh, the wonders that I see. Mystery unfolding to me and to we. The glorious nature of infinite possibility, setting us free as we let go from the get-go. Oh, something wonderful is happening. We're opening ourselves up and giving ourselves the privilege to see it. Hundreds of billions of universes and galaxies, all within our consciousness. Talk about abundance. It's right here and right now. grateful, I'm thankful, I'm grateful, I'm thankful, I'm grateful, I'm thankful. I recognize the presence. I feel my oneness with the presence. And as I am lifted up, as we as a community are lifted up in the idea cathedral, we cannot help but draw all into this higher frequency. Come on. It's from this awareness I speak the word for each and every one of us, knowing there's only one of us here today. That every organ and action function of our body temple is made every whit whole. Just accept it right now. Just place your attention on any aspect of the body temple that you feel might be out of sorts and begin to call forth the celestial body to take over. The celestial body is taking over any physical aspect of the body, because that's simply an outpicturing of the celestial body. Give it permission to take over. That mending and restoration and rejuvenation and renewal is now the order of the day. Oh, I feel it in my bones. The mental body is clear. The emotional body is pure. The physical body is reflecting divine order. And the body of our affairs, oh my God, beauty and harmony. Let's accept that. We're in the world, but we're of our idea cathedral. Anyone we're connected with is blessed. Let's just feel that. We can't hold all this to ourselves. Can you imagine a mathematician working on something and coming up with an answer and thinking that it's only where he or she is? No, that answer is everywhere. There's no lack or limitation in that which is true. And so we see it for all. The word is spoken and we feel so coherent right now. We feel it in our bones. Oh, Marianne, go ahead. Help them feel it.
There is a power, oh, deep within your soul, creating each flower. It's the breath that makes us whole. It's the source of all that's real. It's the beauty that you feel when you claim it. And so it is. All your dreams are flowing right to you. No matter what seems to be real, though you know it's passing through. Say that I'm walking not by sight. I am knowing all is right. Yes, I claim it and I know it, and so it is. There ain't nothing more that needs to be said. And I just speak my word and I rest my head on the shoulders and the wings of the Spirit within. Oh, the kingdom is ours. It's already been given. Yes, oh, it's already been given. So claim it. All that's in your heart. Believe it right where we are. That's where you start. Release the reasons your dreams can become reality. And let the Spirit move you. Reclaim your majesty and be free. Yes. Oh, we are free. Let yourself
free. Be free. Feel your freedom, that expanded nature. Heaven is ever expanding good, tapping into our intrinsic nature of divine freedom. Feel into that. Freedom is not something that a government can give you. Freedom comes directly from the infinite. It's your nature.